They said all we need is bars. You wanna make it? Just bring the bars. But I thought this was Christian rap. It's not about making it or making your pockets full. It's about ministry.
You gotta keep coming with these bars, infiltrating eardrums, leaving scars. Shorty's gotta know serious voices that brought filled with ammo for the job at lot. I'm not your strip pole.
All right. Welcome everyone back. DJ Tammy on London Hot Radio. As you can see, we have a special guest, Serious Voice, coming straight from New York. How are you doing today? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Sorry, I think I just missed the last side. Is it early in the morning right now, isn't it?
Yes, it's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Well, yeah, almost afternoon. How you're doing? How's the situation in New York? How's the pandemic? How's everything? How's the music scene looking there?
Well, everybody's still trying to do everything digitally, but things are getting better in New York. More of the restaurants are opening up. More of the venues are starting to open up. The kids are going back to school now, so it's looking really good. It's promising. So it looks like we could start touring again, hopefully over the summer.
Oh, nice one. Yeah, actually, I saw this morning a couple of stories, I believe from Florida and as well Atlanta, that there's like quite a big events going on. So that's really, yes, and the light in the end of the tunnel, because in London we're still in lockdown. So still waiting 1 year later.
Sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so a bit about yourself. So you're a singer, producer, rapper. Could you introduce yourself slightly? Let us know how did your journey started as a musician?
Yes, first I want to thank you so much for having me on, DJ Temmie. It's a pleasure to just be able to talk to the people in London and have them hear my music. Always wanted to be out there, but because of COVID, obviously I can't. But I've been rapping for over 10 years now. Right now, working on a new project called Beautiful. I believe you have that record, and it's going to be an EP that I'm dropping. I'm dropping that first thing June, so that'll be June 1st. I'm dropping the Beautiful EP, and I'm releasing the single on March 30th, so you guys get to hear it first. It's really, about women, because this has been a tough time for everybody. But I just want to speak to the ladies. I find that a lot of women gravitate to my music because of my experiences. And so I use my personal life stories often in my music to really just talk to people, to motivate them, encourage them. And I do a lot of inspirational rap, so I inspire them as well. And so I've been doing it for a number of years. I've performed for Sway Calloway at South by Southwest. I've gotten one of my songs placed on Spike Lee's She's Gotta Have It. He's an Oscar-winning movie director. I don't know how familiar the audience is, but they should be. They should be familiar with the director, Spike Lee. So I've done a number of major festivals as well here in the U.S. I also have a documentary called Rap Queen, The Serious Voice Story, and we have 2 acclaims for that documentary, and we've been shopping that across the country, different festivals, different colleges. So we've been pretty busy, and right now we just launched my talk show. It's called Success Stories with Serious Voice. And basically, we highlight the successes of people, within the Black and Brown community. So everything that's positive, we don't focus on anything negative at all. And we interview some prominent politicians, celebrities, artists as well. And we just have a good time. And we also add, a DJ mix in the show. My husband does the DJing. And the whole team has just been supportive. Initially, it was difficult to put on a production during COVID because you have to be so careful and you've got to constantly sanitize. But we've been blessed to just stay healthy and to produce this production.
Nice one. That sounds like you had a productive year. You spend your time.
Yeah. It's been busy, so I'm trying to stay healthy. I've been doing my cleanses and just trying to do everything to stay away from large crowds.
Yeah, that's great to hear. You mentioned South by Southwest. I was actually watching, it started, I believe, this week. I've been watching all the panels and performances. Are you performing anytime this week or? Can we hear your?
No, I'm not. I'm not performing anytime this week. It was a previous year that I was on
Mm,
there, but I decided not to go this year. But kudos to everybody that's performing. Everything is digital
yeah.
this year, so I decided not to, and hopefully next year I'll be back in person when COVID goes away. You know.
No, yeah, exactly. That's why I have an opportunity right now to log in and to be a part of it just because it's virtually. So I guess that's also some of the benefits of pandemic that we have access to the whole world and all the events that normally we wouldn't.
Right. That's true. Right. Right.
Yeah, so you mentioned that your music is about your personal experience about like empowering women and all that. Could you tell me more a bit how was it your bringing up, like how was it growing up in New York? And I don't know if you were born in New York and which part of it as well. And
No,
mhm.
no. The interesting thing is that I was born in South America in Guyana.
All right.
So I came up in a Caribbean home, and I came to the States when I was 5 years old, and I grew up in New York City, in Brooklyn, New York. But for the most part, like my upbringing was Caribbean. I know you got a large community of Caribbeans in London, so you
Yeah.
guys are familiar. So I grew up listening to a lot of Bob Marley, a lot of reggae music, all of that stuff. It was a rough upbringing, dealing with a lot of abuse, dealing with different vices, and I even ran away a couple of times as a youngster. But I thank God that I didn't get caught up in the drug scene and caught up in all these different things. But it was there. It was there.
Mhm.
In my face, and I just I had to say no to a lot of things. But yeah, a lot of the music that I record talks about my rough childhood, and not having a father, being born out of wedlock, and just being angry
Mhm.
for most of my childhood because my dad wasn't there for me. But I think becoming a Christian at a young age too has helped me. When I was 15, I started going to church and reading the Bible and listening to my pastor, and that's helped me tremendously.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really good to hear that music and religion helps you to stay away from the trouble really. And I'm just thinking you said so how did you I mean, did your family always grow up listening to music, or like how did you start making music? How did you realize that you that's what you want to do? And
Well, I think that it's in my genes. I have an uncle who's a writer and musician, and I have another cousin who recently passed who was a master at playing the saxophone, and he did that for a living. So music was always in the family. People were always talking about it, always engaging in it. And so for me as a youngster, that was my way of getting away from the craziness in my life. So I'd write music, I'd listen to music, and I started when I was 12 and I never stopped.
mhm. Nice one. And you said you grew up obviously in Caribbean, hearing Caribbean music and reggae and all that. How come you chose to do rap, or where you have you
I
tried
don't. I
in?
don't. I do dabble with Caribbean. I do. I've recorded a few reggae songs.
Mhm.
Reggae inspirational, positive vibe song. I have a few. I've collaborated with a Jamaican artist named Marshall One on a bunch of songs, and we've done some stuff, in the Caribbean. Um, but I think my lane is really hip hop, so I stick with hip hop.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. And could you tell me a bit about the process of you making music? Do you produce your own songs? Do you songwrite your own songs, or how does the let's say the beautiful or either of your songs, how did it come up?
Uh, Usually I'll work with a producer, so I'll hear like a melody in my head, and I'll hear like a hook or a chorus. I'll write that down, and usually like I'll set time aside during the day or week, to just write and record, and I'll use my cell phone, and I'll create these audio notes for myself. So I'll like just spit a few bars on my phone, and then I'll go back later in the day and I'll add more. So it's like a adding process. So whenever something comes to mind, I'll write it or record it, and then I'll go back later and add more, and then I'll listen to it, tweak it, and usually like within a week or two, I've got a whole song. I've got a verse, I've got the intro, the verse, the chorus, a bridge, everything I do on my phone. So that's my whole process. I mean, because everything's digital now. And what I'll do is I'll then send a demo to my producer. He'll listen to it, and then I'll say, well, it should sound kind of like this artist, or it should sound like that artist, or whatever kind of beat. Or I'll say to him, we need some keys, we need some organs, we need certain instrumentals behind certain parts of the song. So that's my whole process. Some people, they write the whole song and then they go looking for a beat. I don't do that. While I'm writing, I'm mentally visualizing what the music will sound like.
Mm-hmm. And so you already mentioned your personal experience, and then also that you said something comes up. Like, is there anything specifically that inspires you usually, or where you look for inspiration to make a new song, or is that like happens magically? Something comes up.
To be honest, world events, like local events, things that I see, over the past year in the U.S., we've had to deal with a lot of police brutality, a lot of African American men dying at the hands of police, and that affected me as a Black woman. So I usually look at world news, current events to write. I use that as motivation to write, to speak, because there's a lot of people who are hurting and they don't have a microphone. So I use my microphone to basically respond to, world events and give them an opportunity to sort of, exhale, if you will. And I try to every time I write or record, it's not just something that's cathartic for me, like I'm releasing through the music, but I try to see how can this resonate with other people that are listening? How can it help them? And so I tailor my music initially so that I like it, but I also tailor it so that when people are listening, they can say, oh yeah, I can relate to this situation, and this is exactly how I feel about it. So I do consult with other people, like, this new project, Beautiful. I've been talking to a lot of women. What makes you feel beautiful? What are the things that make you feel ugly? What have you heard growing up as a child that made you feel ugly or made you feel beautiful? So I do a lot of consulting, and I take a lot of polls from different people to arrive at a final version of my music.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's really nice to hear. I mean, yeah, I think it's never enough of work to do for us. I mean, years of history of women, and yeah, all sorts of discriminations. I think it's important that you do that work. And you also mentioned the audience, that people that listen to you. Do you have a specific target audience that you make music for, or is it everyone? Is it?
Yeah, well, no. At this particular time, I find that women 25 to about 40, that community 25 to 40, they're really zoned in on me. They support me. If I have a tour, they'll show up. If I put out music, they'll get it. And also men 35 and over support me. A lot of men. I have maybe 60% of my fan base is male. So I have more men that support me than women. I get it.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not mad at that. Because I have a pretty good fan base. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm excited. And so I make grown folk music. I don't make music for the little kids. I make music for people who are adults, who have jobs, who have life issues to deal with, and they just keep it trucking,
Mm-hmm. Could you share a bit more of how do you market your songs, or when you have a new release, is there like a team? Do you have a team that works with you, or?
Yes. I'm glad you asked that. Well, I'm co-founder along with my husband of Serious People Music, which is our own label that we started a few years ago. After I had worked with a bunch of other labels and entities, so we started that. And my longtime collaborating producer Lenny Moore, he's with More Beats. So everything that I do is a partnership between Serious People Music and More Beats. And when I go to release a song, I do have a team that's behind it. We have meetings, we strategize, we even hire different outside companies to produce certain videos, to do different things. But for the most part, it's all SPM and More Beats. And so it's maybe about 10 artists. Yeah, it's like a community of maybe about 10 artists, and we support each other. It's a very supportive community, and I'm happy to be a member of it. I'm happy to be a part of SPM, and my husband supports. We have a nice fan base that supports, and we're just constantly growing.
Mm-hmm. Is there any particular tips that you could share, or you found some sort of tools that work best for you to either, I don't know, either with the new releases or in general, what artists like must do to improve and I guess to get more people to listen to them?
I'm glad you. I'm glad you asked that question. I think the artists need to get more familiar with social media, how to promote themselves on social media. I have taken the step of getting Hootsuite certified. So that's another, it's like a scheduling service called Hootsuite. And it allows me to like schedule my posts. So I could be out on a plane and I have posts that are going out. So I think that if artists of today, post COVID, can understand the ebb and flows of social media, it'll better help them. And the other thing is they'll save money, because instead of you hiring outside folks, and spending hundreds of dollars on social media promotions because you don't understand how to do it, why not take a course in doing it? Spend the $200, take a course in promoting and understanding social media promotions, so that you can then take those hundreds of dollars and pump it into your music, and pump it into video production, and pump it into other things that'll really help you get to the next level. So that's my advice. And that's something I've invested in since last March when COVID happened. I've invested in social media marketing and promotions. I've hired a whole team to do PR for me. There's different things that we need to engage in because we can't do everything ourselves. And so I do handle a lot of my own social media promotions, but I also have outside people that are helping with, creating videos, creating, little snippets, promo snippets, video snippets that we can post on Reels, post on my timeline. And there's so many social media outlets that it's impossible for me to manage Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all the others, Twitch, and all the others that are popping up every day. So at least I'll handle 5, but I have someone else that handles all the others. So every artist should invest and spend some time and learn how social media works.
Right, yeah, I think that's really important for you to share. And also you said to schedule and post. I think it's another hard thing is to have the content to always post, that
Right.
sometimes we know where to, but we don't really have what to share. But do you have any like strategy that you post like certain amount of times during the week or?
Well, from what I've studied, it's always best to post early in the morning, between 6 and 11 in the morning. That's the best time to post. People are up, they're scrolling through their phones. And, by the time 10, 11 o'clock comes, most people are working, they're at meetings. So you want to post super early, like 6 a.m. to about 10 a.m., or you post later at night, after 7 p.m. And that usually works well. You'll get more engagement. More people will see that you're active and want to engage with you. The other side of it is that artists should start engaging with other artists. They should start engaging with people that they want to work with. So that means, using hashtags and finding other rappers or singers or producers, and just saying, hey, I like your pic. Hey, I like your video. That sort of thing, it helps, because what usually happens is the more you do that, the more likely they are to come over to your profile and check out your posts and engage with you. So it's a give and take type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Um, Coming back a bit to your music and your songs. What you had said you had a collaboration with some reggae artists. I think your bars is featuring Tiffany J. What's been your favorite collaboration so far? And
Wow. I've done a lot. My favorite collaboration is probably a song that I sang with my husband called Whoa. And that was the song that was picked up by Spike Lee for his She's Gotta Have It. But I do no rapping. I completely sing on that one. But it's just a sweet, like, inspiring song, and I love it. I think that's my favorite of all time.
mm-hmm. And what would be your dream collaboration? Like, what are the artists that inspire you to make music or yo?
My dream collaboration would be to do a song with Missy Elliott.
Oh.
I think everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. Either Missy Elliott or Queen Latifah, and I'll be good.
No, exactly.
I won't need any other collaborations after that. Like Missy Elliott's a triple threat, and Queen Latifah is just the queen. She's the queen. Like who doesn't want to collaborate with the queen?
Yeah, no, I mean, you need to put it out there in the universe and let it come to you.
Exactly.
So you mentioned the Spike Lee show. Could you tell us more a bit about the Netflix experience and how did that come about, and just to share a bit more of the insights?
Sure. Well, we submitted a bunch of stuff because Spike Lee is very active on Instagram and on his social media, period. So he put out a request for independent artists to submit music for his Netflix show, She's Gotta Have It Season 1. And my team saw it, and we submitted like about 10 songs that I had produced. And I get a call one day from Spike on my cell phone, and I was like completely like taken aback, but he called me and he said, I'm gonna use your Whoa song. And he specifically said, it's not gonna be in a sex scene. I respect everything that you do. You know, you're inspiring. I know that you go to church and all of that stuff. And so it's gonna be in a nice scene and we're gonna be respectful about it. And when that whole thing happened, I was just like, wow. And it really taught me that if my music wasn't on point in terms of quality, it would not have been selected. And then after he had selected the song, we had a big party at his office in Fort Greene. And when we showed up, he was there to greet everyone and he took selfies with everyone. There wasn't a point where he wasn't approachable. He's a very down to earth, very approachable guy, and he loves the independent artists. He loves to support local artists, especially from Brooklyn, because, you know, I grew up in Brooklyn, went to school in Brooklyn and all of that stuff. So that's how that whole thing happened. But if I didn't have all of my ducks in a row, if my music wasn't on point, if my production wasn't on point, I wouldn't have been selected. So my advice to artists that are watching this and listening on the radio, make sure you're releasing stuff that you're proud of so that the big directors can listen to it and pick it up. So that, you know, somebody like your favorite celebrity artist will say, hey, I've heard this stuff, let's work. So it's all about maintaining that high level of excellence.
Yeah, no, I think the work definitely has to be done first. I'm
Right.
happy you mentioned that. Also, you mentioned a very interesting point about like TV shows and women, and they say, like you said, it's not gonna be sexy or whatever. Have you ever had an experience or someone like trying to commercialize your image, or that you had to like decline a job, or maybe you weren't selected because you didn't? I don't know, like how is your experience with being like a business commercial icon and also staying true to your music and to religion and what you want to say?
Well, I've never been asked to do something that would compromise, you know, my religious stance. And I thank God for that, because first and foremost, I'm a Christian artist. So people know that, you know, I'm a Christian artist, I'm a minister. I mentor kids and I tell them, you know, about the Bible and all that stuff. So why would I go exposing my body on TV or doing something crazy? So people never approach me to do stuff like that. It's usually, oh, you want to be on a song with this, that, and the third. I've had an artist who I won't name who sent me a verse with a bunch of curse words, and we're actually still trying to figure out how to deal with that. And the issue is that we want to represent Christ in the world, but we don't want to be the world. And that's the balance. There has to be a balance. And so I pray every day, you know, that I'm a true representative and I'm not selling out, you know. I'm not selling out just so that I could get recognized or say, hey, I did a collab with Missy Elliott, you know. But then when people listen to the song, you know, it's all anti-God. I don't want to do something like that. But I've never been in a position where, oh man, I feel like this is, you know, this is gonna force me to compromise. I've never been there, and I think that for the most part, when I've worked with people, they've allowed me to be me. even when they say all kinds of crazy stuff, they say, I know you're a Christian artist, so I know how you're going to approach it. Like recently, I was approached to do a political song. Well, it's, for a political person who's now in office. And I did the song because I'm a Black woman, and I think that outside of being a Christian artist, it's good to see people that look like you, that look like Black boys and Black girls in a prominent position. And so I took that because I think that we need representation in every facet.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. You mentioned cursing in songs. Are your all songs are clean and?
Yes, every one of my songs are clean. There's no. If you consider the word "damn" to be dirty, that's it. That's the most you'll hear from me. Damn.
No, I think that's it. I think, and yeah, it really it's great because it opens you the doors for all the radios and sync and TV and yeah, I think we are. Yeah, I mean, especially as radios, well, we're always encouraging artists that find other words to say what you want to say without cursing. Like you don't need to.
Right, yeah. It's doubly harder for a positive artist or an inspirational artist to not use curse words, to not use certain profane language and themes, because sometimes we're as angry as every other artist.
Yeah.
We're enraged by certain situations, but it just shows your level of skill when you're able to speak on a topic with the same energy, but you're not using any expletives. So I just say kudos to everybody who keeps it clean all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a very important point, to being creative enough to being able to say to express that frustration and injustice in the world, if in I guess professional way still. Also, I can't believe I didn't ask this question the very first one, but I wanted to ask how did the serious voice came like, why is that your name?
It's Thank you. It's crazy because I was an only child for 13 years. And then my brother showed up, but throughout those 13 years, I had to be responsible. I was always this serious young woman, and my family kept saying, why are you so serious all the time? Why are you so serious all the time? And then my brother came into the picture, and then I had to, take care of him, help my mom take care of him and all of that stuff. So I always had this sense of responsibility and seriousness about me. And when I started rapping, I started using that name. And when I got to the next level in rap, like, recording in better studios and whatnot, I realized that there's like 2,000 Siriuses out there. So I had to add the voice to differentiate me from all the other ones out there. So that's how we got the Sirius voice.
Wow, that's really interesting. Could you share what was like the highlight of your career so far? If there was any specific event or like a period of time that you think was the best, consider a highlight.
I think there are two highlights of my career so far, and I think performing at South by Southwest for Sway Calloway and how that whole situation transpired, that was really amazing, and it just felt so like a God move. And I call it a God move because I could not have orchestrated that. Like, we connected on the plane at the baggage claim area as we got off the plane, because we were on the same plane. And he saw me. I was looking like an artist. I had red hair at the time and these long boots. And I just had this whole spirit of an artist on me. And he approached me and he said, are you an artist? I said, yes. He said, I have a big show tonight at the studio for South by Southwest, and I want you to come, and I'm going to give you the mic, and I want you to rap for me. He never heard me rap, never seen me before. It was just, I looked like an artist, and that was such an amazing time. And I had to wake up at 4 a.m. in Austin, Texas to get to the studio to perform. And when I got there, sure enough, they gave me the microphone and I was able to rhyme. And it was like a surreal kind of situation, because even afterwards I was like, did I just do that? Did I just perform on this major stage with Sway Calloway? And it was just crazy. It really was crazy. And then, of course, the Spike Lee situation was another crazy situation. Just having him call me and tell and reassure me that he respected my music and respected my God, and was going to make sure that he played my music in, a scene that wasn't a sex scene. So those two moments, I think, highlight my career, and we've done so much after that. We've really been blessed to just continue to do music, even now with COVID. I've been doing a lot of digital shows, and like I said at the beginning, I'm releasing new music on the 30th. The Beautiful song is coming on the 30th, and then June 1st we're getting the Beautiful EP. So I'm still working, we're still producing.
Wow. No, that's really great to hear that you also have projects coming out soon, because I think like a lot of artists are kind of waiting for the things to open up, but it's good that you still have that inner motivation. And is there anything specifically that like motivates you, that keeps you going? Or if you could share anything, what keeps the drive?
I think that just I gotta acknowledge that my relationship with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is what keeps me going. Having just waking up and thanking God for a new day keeps me going. The fact that I know that I could have had COVID, but I didn't get COVID. I lost a lot of loved ones over this past year, so I'm thankful to be alive. And a lot of people, I'm sure you probably know someone directly or indirectly that had COVID and they took their last breath. And so just being thankful to God has kept me going, knowing that there's a higher being, you know what I'm saying, that keeps us here, that keeps us protected and healthy. That keeps me going. I have a 12-year-old son. Seeing him motivates me to consistently do better, because I want better for him. And my husband also motivates me, and of course my producer, Lenny. Every time I do something, Lenny tells me, you got to work harder. You got to work harder. So even when I work harder, but I love that because I have people around me that motivate me, that constantly push me. Even when I've reached a high point in my mind, they're like, no, you got to work harder. And so shout out to Mr. C, shout out to Mr. L, aka More Beats, and shout out to J Swag, who's my son. They all motivate me.
Yeah, I think there's a quote that says that you are a combination of the 5 closest people you spend time with, so it's kind of shows up if everyone's keeping you. So
yeah, that's true.
You shared a couple of exciting projects coming up very soon. Where would you see yourself in like couple of years' time if nothing was an obstacle? Like what would you like to do?
I wanna really take this talk show that I'm doing to a whole nother level. We want to blanket the whole of US and maybe even hit the UK. I also want to do a UK tour. So look out for that. In 2 years, I want to hit Amsterdam, hit London, hit all the places that you guys, your listeners, know about in the UK. And we just want to keep motivating kids, keep motivating adults to keep going, to wake up. Because a lot of people, they can't find a reason to wake up in the morning. And I just want to tell people it's not over. Just keep going. And here's the crazy part. It was the great Wayne Gretzky, a hockey player. Wayne Gretzky said, you lose, what did he say? Every shot you don't take, you lose. Something to that effect. But it basically says, if you don't take the shot, then how do you know if you win? If you stop taking shots, you automatically lose.
Yeah.
So you got to wake up and you got to keep going, because there's another opportunity to win. Exactly. So that's my motto. We got to wake up. We got to keep going. There's a quote that someone posted of me. And I said this some time ago. I said, if you failed the first time you took a shot, take another shot. And if that one didn't work, take another shot. And if that shot didn't work, take another one. That's what the basketball players do. They make like 2,000 shots a day. And I'm sure they miss hundreds of shots throughout that time.
No, yeah, I've also think it's important to consider everything a lesson other than a failure. If you get it, good. If you don't get it, it's a lesson. It's also good.
Right.
And also to understand, I think one of the quotes that we're sharing here, I think what helps me is to understand is that everything that bad is temporary and everything that's good is also temporary. So just to know that everything will pass no matter how euphoria and depression is equally temporary, and it's not very healthy per se. So yeah, and also if you could
Right, exactly.
Mhm. So controversy to the highlight, is there any obstacle that you could think of that you had to overcome in your career? Not necessarily maybe your upbringing or anything that you can think of that was like the hardest thing to overcome that helped you to keep going.
So many obstacles. I think being a woman is an obstacle, because it's a male dominated industry, believe it or not.
Mhm.
Now you're seeing more and more females coming out, but it's still male dominated, and so I have to be reminded that I'm in the minority as a female, and so I have to come 10 times better than everyone else that's out there. All the men that are doing hip hop, I have to come 10 times better because they dominate this industry. But that gives me more fuel and more fire every time I think about it. Every time I'm passed up over, by and because a man is chosen over me, I say, you know what? I'm gonna sharpen this area. I'm gonna tweak this area. I'm gonna make this better. So the next time they'll choose this woman.
Mhm. I'm very happy you mentioned that. Actually, I just released a podcast series a couple of weeks ago called Females in the Mix, talking to women about their experience in the music industry. Just an hour before I had a conversation with one DJ about all of this, what you just mentioned. And I mean, is there anything else you could share which is really interesting? Just like you being as a female, is there like any first memory that you can think of, like starting music, if that you realize that there's some sort of inequality gender wise or any disparity? Um, yeah, it's just, or is it like a daily
I've
struggle?
I've had instances where I've applied to different festivals, and there's no way you would reject me for that festival because I met every criteria. And I remember one morning, I got the response back through email, and my husband said he didn't want to tell me about the rejection letter. So he waited and waited, but I saw the email because every morning I wake up early and I go through my emails. And so this particular morning, I went through my email and I was so distraught because the person said, "Oh, we love everything you do. You're doing an amazing job in your community and we love your music, but we've decided to pass." And then I find out later on that they chose a male rapper who lived in my community to take my slot. And I was so heated because I had done so much more than this
Mm-hmm.
artist. But I said, you know what? They didn't want me on their platform, that's fine. And that was more fuel for me to just keep working at it and to just be better. And this is a constant thing that we have to deal with as females. They're
Mm-hmm.
always looking for a guy to rap, but when you come as a female and you're rapping and you're confident and you've been doing it for a while, it's like, wow, okay. Sometimes people become fearful, especially men. Sometimes they get fearful and they
Mm-hmm.
feel like you're taking their position, you're taking their shine away, and you're really not. You're just being you, and you're just being successful in your lane. And so my advice to other females is just use it as fuel. Use it as fuel to be as best as you possibly can be.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned, is it? I mean, that is harder for females almost to start, I guess, now or to succeed comparing like a man doing exactly the same thing and having the same experience, right? Just
I
because.
wouldn't say no. It's not harder for a female now. It's easier for a female now. That's why we have thousands, hundreds of thousands of females that are rapping, and you'll see them on Instagram, on Twitter, etc. But when it comes to quality and top tier female artists, there's a very small amount of us who are polished, who have a team, who have a fan base, who have certain things in place. It's not just about showing who you are on social media. Do you have a website? Do you have a team behind you? Are you organized? If someone books you, is it just, are they just inboxing you to book you, or are they going through your manager? Certain things that are in place with next level artists that you don't find with the up and coming artists. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that all up and comers don't have, all of their things in line, but for the most part, you'll find that up and coming artists are so excited to do an event or an interview or whatever they don't have a manager, they don't have a booking form, they don't have a website, they don't have certain things in place. They don't say, oh, is there an honorarium? Are you covering my hotel? Are you covering my travel expenses? They're just excited to be invited and put on a flyer. They show up and they're losing money.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make anything outside of, okay, well, I went and I performed for these 20 people and then I'm gonna fly back home. But as you grow as an artist, you put a price on your artistry, because we spend hours rehearsing, we spend a lot of time grooming, we spend a lot of time promoting, we spend time maintaining our website, maintaining our image. So that costs. And we have to put a premium on what we offer.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any thoughts on like why is it like that? Like, especially even if you mentioned that it might be even easier for a female to start right now, but like in top positions we still see majority of men and employing, I guess, other men. Do you have any ideas like why is it women not interested enough into getting the business side of things?
I
Or?
don't I don't I don't think so. I think that more females need to get educated on how the music industry works, and I think more of us are doing that right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, it's like a very small group of females that are actually getting educated on the industry and understanding the behind the scenes aspect of it versus wanting to be, with the microphone in front of the camera all the time. It's easy to be in front of the camera, and it's hard to be behind the scenes, and controlling everything. So I think that the reason why there aren't many of us managing, running labels, and doing the high level stuff is because we don't have the knowledge. If we had the knowledge, if we had someone mentor us in music and show us, well, this is how it's done, then I think that we're more likely to do it. And so I think that the older veteran females need to start saying to the younger females, hey, grab my hand, let me show you how to do it. That's what we need to start doing, mentoring the younger women, the up and coming artists, and then the landscape will change.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's definitely not enough of women in high positions helping others. Have you ever experienced any like competition from women coming that instead of helping each other, we sometimes tend to see it as a competition and almost that they I mean sometimes women there's discussion that sometimes women in high positions they feel like they worked so hard for it that they don't really want to share and don't want to bring because they feel like others don't
Mm-hmm.
deserve it because they had to go for such a hard work to get to that position that almost they're seeing everyone else as competitors. Have you ever experienced any?
Yes,
Mhm.
I have. I experienced that early on in my career when I met, a few veteran female rappers, and they felt they felt like I was there to take away from them, and so their response was to downplay who I was. And
Mhm.
so when others would introduce me, oh, I don't really know that. I don't know who this person is. And it's just funny because my response to that was, I'm not trying to take anything away from you. I'm simply trying to celebrate you and celebrate us. See, the problem is that we always think someone wants to do a collab with us, someone wants to take away our shine, someone wants to take away our spot. When more, and this is Women's History Month, more of us need to celebrate each other. We need to celebrate each other's success. Like, I have my own special lane and another female has her lane. But the moment I contact her or reach out to her, see her somewhere and try to show love, it's okay, well, I look better and I'm this and I'm that and she's this and she's that. We need to stop all of that. I think that in 2021, we've gotten to a place where we know, okay, you're good at this and you're good at that, but can we just celebrate us? And I think that we need to have more Women's History Month and more of an opportunity to celebrate each other and not, try to take away from each other. Because females are still like feeling like, well, I'm the only female in this male dominated industry or in this particular genre. So if another female comes and tries to shake my hand, I'm going to smack her hand away because it's all about me. And that doesn't get us anywhere. We don't advance by doing that. We advance by celebrating each other and by mentoring each other.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that men are doing a better job of lifting each other up and mentoring each other than we do. We have to step our game
Yeah.
up a bit in that sense.
We're too busy looking at the lipstick the female got on, looking at her hairstyle, looking at, all these crazy stuff. Oh, I look better, I'm skinnier, all this crazy stuff. We need to get past all of these superficial things.
Mm-hmm. Right. Also, you mentioned that you started a label and things. Is there any particular artist that you're looking for, or any particular set of genre, or like people you work with? If you could share a bit of your work.
Well, I'm glad you asked. Serious People Music. Yes, right now we're actually looking for singers. So, up and coming singers, someone with a voice, someone with an amazing talent that we can teach, the industry and teach them about music and how to be an artist. Someone, that's willing to work, because it's about work. At the end of the day, you've got to be able to put in time in the studio and recording in the studio. You've got to be able to travel. You've got to be able to spend, late nights writing and rewriting and recording and re-recording and taking criticism. A lot of young people, they have a hard time taking criticism, because they're like, man, I'm dope. My song is hot. I got a hot song. And then when you tell them, no, you got a great song, but the hook is terrible, and then they get mad. Mm-hmm. So you've got to be able to take criticism, but we're looking for singers.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is there any specific place to contact you on for that, for anyone that might be listening?
Well, I'm glad they can reach out to us on Twitter at Serious PPL Music, on Twitter at Serious PPL Music, or they can inbox me on Instagram at Serious Voice NY, because I serve as an A&R for the label, so they can inbox me with their links, and then we'll take it from there. But definitely, we're always looking for people who have a strong talent, a strong work ethic, and just ready to work to get to that next level.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you mentioned a lot of interesting, important points, as knowing the social media, the hard work of not giving up. Is there any other tips you could give for young artists, or in general any artists that might be listening, that worked for you, that you think it's another thing to add that's important?
The one thing that I have to say is, people are not going to take you seriously if you don't take yourself seriously, and that means you have to be consistent. We've worked with a lot of young artists, and they're gung-ho for maybe 5 weeks, and then after 5 weeks you don't hear from them. They disappear. They don't want to show up. So you have to be consistent and committed to being the best artist that you possibly can be. And that's one of the things we look for, in an artist, somebody that's committed, that's consistent. You as a DJ wouldn't take me seriously if I sing you a song today and then you don't hear from me until 5 years later. You won't take me seriously. You have to be consistent.
Yeah, professional consistency. I think that's really important. All right, I can't believe it's almost been an hour. It's really great to have you. I think we should have you for a second part one day. I want to have a minute to also play the 2 of your songs. So could you let us know, shout out yourself once again? Where is the Beautiful coming out? What social media platforms? Where should we find you, and where can we reach you?
Excellent. My website is soserious.net. That's SOSERIOUS.net. And the song Beautiful by Serious Voice will be out on all digital platforms on March 30th. That's March 30th, just a few days away from now. So check it out. It'll be on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Spotify, Deezer, all of your favorite digital download stores. Just look for Beautiful by Serious Voice.
Nice one. Any last shout outs? I think you gave up your people, 5, your son and your husband. Anyone else that you would like to mention?
Shout out to all the female artists out there who are consistent, who are working hard. Your time is going to come. Just keep trucking, keep working hard. Somebody's going to recognize it, and somebody's going to take you to the next level.
All right. Thank you. So lucky enough here on London Ho Radio, we're going to have an exclusive play of Beautiful. Really first time here. So yeah, enjoy everyone. This is Beautiful by Serious Voice.
When was the last time you made her feel complete? How about a pause to celebrate her? Black woman, you are beautiful indeed. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. So beautiful. So beautiful. When was the last time you told her she was beautiful? When was the last time you swept her off her feet? How about a pause to celebrate her? Black woman, you are beautiful indeed. When was the last time you told her she was beautiful? When was the last time you swept her off her feet? How about a pause to celebrate her? Black woman, you are beautiful indeed. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. So beautiful. So beautiful. Pump your fists in the air and pump it like you just don't care. Pump your fists in the air and pump it like you just don't care. Pump your fists in the air and pump it like you just don't care. 'Cause if you know she's beautiful, somebody say, oh yeah. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. So beautiful. So beautiful.
Yo, they said all we need is bars. You wanna make it? Just bring the bars.
And another one by Serious Voice. This one is called Bars.
Making it or making your pockets full. It's about ministry.
You gotta keep coming with these bars, infiltrating eardrums, leaving scars. Shorty's gotta know serious voices that brought filled with ammo for the job at lot. I'm not your strip pole, 6-inch heels, side piece. Forward marching, ever tried to spirit fill timepiece. Spitting verbs to activate the body, moving with a switch, 'cause you gotta hear the body. These lyrics ain't viv, and this is Fresh Prince. Septum that bad itch. I'm that rash that won't go away, 'cause these words hit your heart, shatter thoughts and negativity. Rap queen, rap fiend, prefer real rap like Fonte. Or let me take it back like Father MC. But we could keep it current like Cardi B. I like my rhymes, mine is profanity. And when the words drop, you say she's a problem, B. Is that what you think about? Is that what you think about? Just bars, just bars, just bars, just bars. Give me the real life for the young show. Give me the mic if you want the truth told. My boots a litmus test. What we put in come out like Jenna did. I try my best to mirror holiness. Exhale facts, but they don't want to face the facts. They bury that mouse flat, eating good, getting fat. No spiritual food, the beat is crack. Addicted to the alpha meal, project swag. Ready to teach.
All right. We got 30 seconds till ads. So that was Serious Voice, everyone. Thank you once again. And make sure to check out our socials.
We big hit all day, but he gon' have over one lost fam. Then celebrate over luncheon. Somebody eyeball real change. Somebody transform in Jesus' name. They X out Jesus, but thank him for the fame. What's wrong with the game? What's wrong with the game? Is that what you think about?
Frustrated with finding the right mastering for